I think we currently live in a time where everything is so convenient to us. Basically, everything that we ever need is usually on our phone. It's what we use to call, for entertainment, and to even communicate with anyone. And so I think with apps like Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, and especially TikTok, a lot of people spend their time on these apps. And trust me, I'm not better than this. I myself spend a lot of time on TikTok just scrolling, and doom scrolling. And I think as the generations keep moving forward, our attention span keeps becoming worse and worse. And so that gave me an idea for a video where, in this video, today I will be talking about 3 video games that I think actually help our attention span. I'll be talking about video games that I believe reward players for paying attention to the story, or reward players for exploring the world and learning more about the world that it's built to be, and games that also have a really good and long narrative that people can immerse themselves in and will have to pay attention to. So yeah, I'll be talking about some of those games. But if you guys like this content and these type of videos, please let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, and leave a comment and what games you think do that for you guys and make you feel like that your attention span is getting better. Alright, but all that being said, let's get right into the video. Disco Elysium is a game that I really enjoyed playing through. Basically, the game starts as you're playing as a guy who's having the worst hangover of his life. It is so bad, he doesn't remember who he is, his name, or what he's doing in his hotel. But then you're able to go to the hotel, interact with people who are staying there, and you figure out that you're a detective who is here to figure out who killed and hung this man outside on a tree. And you're also with another detective, Kim Kitsuragi. Shout out Kim Kitsuragi. But this game is amazing. Not only are you in like a place that doesn't exist, but it's very close to like a lot of places in the world. You're basically a clean slate where you don't know who you are and you need to try to figure out who you are. This game allows you to go to almost every little corner of this place to talk to people and learn about where you are, what the world is like, maybe if they had a past encounter with yourself. And another really cool feature, since you don't know a lot about yourself or the world that you're in, there's these skills that you could put points into, or you can make a build towards them that, for example, are like logic, encyclopedia, volition, and they're basically like parts of your body that speak to you, like your own body speaking to you, giving you information. And so when you talk to some people, maybe there's a skill check that if your logic is high enough, you could learn more through this conversation. Or if you're an encyclopedia, they'll give you more information concerning what you guys are talking about, so you're not completely lost. So in this game, it genuinely does reward you to go around and look everywhere to learn everything you can that will help you on your case, who is important to talk to, where you could get the information of who would want to kill this guy. And so I think that's a really nice thing. And also the story's so large and sprawling, and there's so many missing pieces that you got to put together that you really got to pay attention, and it really does pay out if you pay attention. And also if you spend the time trying to get the points into these certain skills, like there's some of them that literally draw out a crime scene for you. There's also even some that make you want to drink or smoke more. And another very cool part about this game is this game's also like a sandbox for philosophical beliefs, where you're able to imprint your own beliefs on this character, and you could use it to talk to other people who may have opposing beliefs, which is a kind of interesting thought process where other people see the world one way and you're talking to them to see it how they see it. And maybe you guys can come to an understanding. Or maybe it just seems all weird to you. Economic philosophies are also brought up. There will be a guy who apparently was this communist leader, but the young people love him. But Kim Kitsuragi, your partner, is not a big fan. But yeah, there's 1,000 different elements in this game that are amazing to play through and really engross yourself in. And there's also a ton of different endings and different ways to get those endings, and a bunch of replayability, a bunch of different outfits you can wear to help your playthroughs, a lot of fun characters. This game is amazing, and I think genuinely does help you pay attention to things a little bit more. Oh, how I love Death Stranding. Now, I think Hideo Kojima, who made Death Stranding, makes a lot of games that you really need to pay attention to. But Death Stranding in particular really does help people's attention span. Now, if you don't know what Death Stranding is, the concept is relatively quote-unquote simple. Basically, you play as Sam Bridges, and the United States and the world in general went through a catastrophe that killed so many people, and whoever was left alive got pushed into bunkers. So now, your goal in the game is to deliver packages to bunker and create a link that connects all of the United States to put everyone on the same network, and we can start rebuilding humanity. Now, that is, I think, the most basic thing you could do in the game. And what you do in the game is deliver packages to point A to point B. Now, this might sound boring to some, but honestly, when you get down to it, it's really, really fun. So not only do you have to deliver packages, you have to avoid a lot of enemies. Like in story reasons, there are like ghosts called BTs that want to kill you. There are scavengers, and there's also Troy Baker who wants to kill you. And so you have to basically go on these deliveries and deliver things while avoiding all these and also finding ways around the terrain and to connect to the next bunker. Now this game is a lot of fun because before any mission it makes you plan a route. You don't have to, but it's really cool that to plan a route and make sure you could do a delivery in the most optimal way in the least amount of time where your packages don't get damaged. And every time you deliver a package to a bunker, the relationship with that bunker goes up and they give you more rewards or blueprints so you can make other weapons to make every delivery easier. And then once you're connected to the network, you could see other people's inventions and creations in that area. So it can be more helpful where people will place generators around or build ramps to get across water easier, or maybe even leave around some cars and vehicles. And one of my favorite things to do were actually to build roads. So a lot of the gameplay for me became going to point A to point B, making sure I'm carrying enough materials to give it to the auto paver so we could build a road. So next time I go down, it's simply as just driving there and dropping it off. And there's also little secret bases where if you deliver things to, you get other unique items. And so it's really fun to go out of your way to do that and spend the time figuring out how you want to deliver something, because it's also made that you deliver things back and forth. You're not only going forward, but you're also going back to deliver packages to old facilities and old bases. I remember I saw a comment about Death Stranding 2 that like someone would get off of work and they would treat this game like another job, like clocking in to be a delivery man. And while that might sound like an insult, I believe personally meant at a compliment, because I feel the same way. I feel like I'm doing a job, and I think the game really immerses you in that aspect of trying to reconnect the world. And also, this game has a ton of actors from real life in this game, and the story is so complicated and long that you do have to pay attention and maybe even read some of the detailed explanations in the game to understand what's going on. Because yes, it's complicated and long, but it is very interesting, and there's like a bunch of different powers, and there's realms you could go into to fight these different enemies, and that's kind of how you fight the main bad guy. It's a crazy huge story with a bunch of things to immerse you, and it's really just fun to go deliver a package and walk across a hill and listen to some nice music while playing this game.
Fire of predicaments.
Now, me personally, I love the Persona series, and the reason why it's on this video in general is because I think Persona 5 really does help people's attention spans, and not only that, it also gives them a lot of other skills in their brain that you will need to get better at if you want to really beat the game. But this also relates to Persona 3 and Persona 4. If you don't know what Persona is, you've definitely heard at least one of the famous songs on their soundtrack. You're probably listening to one right now, actually. But in Persona 5, you basically move into a new town. You get into some trouble, you move in with a family friend, and you go to a new school and you make some new friends. It turns out that the gym teacher is a bad guy, and you find out that you have the ability to bring the internal desires of yourself into a physical form. That's a persona. You figure out your friends could do it too, and you all join together, fight the gym teacher, and defeat him. And that little sample size of the game is basically the main goal in Persona. You and your friends create a group called the Phantom Thieves. Your whole goal is to defeat people in power who have a twisted view of the world, and you enter their palaces and destroy them by doing puzzles or whatever the palace needs until you get to the last boss fight and defeating them and cleansing their heart. And then that is, I think, the most simple way to talk about it. The game has a ton of depth and a lot of features for you to use. That's why it's on this list. This game, you have to balance a ton of things, because in these games, you are on a time crunch. You have to make sure you could clear the palace by a set amount of times, or you basically lose the game. So you have to balance going to school, because you're a high school student. You have to balance the relationship between your friends and your party members, so you could have certain buffs. You need to actually sometimes work a job to get money, to get gear and other resources for your team. You also have to fight shadows in the metro, and shadows are basically the uncertainty and uneasiness feeling that people feel in general, and they make these monsters called shadows. So sometimes you have to clear out the metro so people don't feel so bad and you get some boost. But yeah, it's a ton of things that you have to do in this game, and since you're on a time crunch, it could seem very overwhelming, but honestly, it's a great skill to learn from this game. You have to figure out and plan accordingly to this time schedule. So you can't do so many things in a day. You have to really focus on what you want to do and what you want to focus on. If you want to focus on strengthening those relationships so you have better buffs during fights, or if you want to go grind out your persona so he levels up. These are things that you have to plan accordingly to, and I think it's honestly really great. But this game is also very rewarding if you want to go out and explore the world, because it will give you certain buffs, or you'll meet brand new social links that could really help your fights, and it rewards you for that. And the thing is, if you're not prepared for a palace or certain different fights and you just skip through it and get to the end, sometimes you won't even beat it and you could get stuck on a level and you would have to go out and grind some more. And this has happened to me plenty of times. In Persona 4, I'm actually stuck in a palace and I literally haven't finished the game because I got stuck and I have a bad save and I'm literally stuck in an endless cycle. But back to Persona 5. I think this game really rewards people who pay attention and are able to manage their time better and figure out what they want to do in certain days and plan that accordingly. And it's a great skill for people to learn because in real life, we might want to do so many things, but there's really only so many hours in a day. So you really have to think about how to do certain things and when to do certain things. And so I think this game really helps people's brain and how to balance everything, especially when life seems so overwhelming. You could find a balance and there's a way to find a balance. And I think that's a really cool thing in Persona, because once you do find that balance in the game gets really fun and it's just easy when you have a system that you do every day. If you do it enough times, you will definitely be able to beat the palace and overall beat the game. So yeah, those are 3 video games that I personally do think help anyone pay attention more, or honestly just gives you nice little skills for your brain to start developing and to work on. Obviously there's more games than just these. There's like a ton of RPGs, a ton of RTS games that do the same thing, that really help you pay attention to more aspects of video games, fix organizational skills, and help you multitask. But here's just the 3 I wanted to talk about. But if you made it to this part of the video, then I just want to say thank you for making it to this part of the video. If you like this stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite RPG that you've ever played is, just to know that you guys made it to the end. But yeah, that'll be all from me today. Thanks for watching.